From early Black pioneers to today, Black Hoosiers helped shape Indiana's past and present. What were some of their challenges and triumphs? Kisha Tandy, our curator of social history, will share their stories.
When Indiana was formed as a state in 1816, there were Blacks living here in the state. Indiana was considered a free state, even though we know that there was slavery and indentured servitude in the state. Black life in Indiana prior to the Civil War had troubles in many different areas, from education to healthcare to places to live. You had the Black settlements and you had Black churches that helped to support the Black community. One of those churches was Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church. Bethel, here in Indianapolis, is sometimes referred to as Mother Bethel. It was started in 1836 in the home of Augustus Turner. This congregation would become a beacon. Bethel and the other churches, along with the settlements, were crucial to Black life in Indiana. Black men in Indiana and throughout the country wanted to fight for their rights. On November 30th, 1863, the United States Department of War authorized Indiana Governor Oliver P. Morton to raise a Black infantry regiment, which would be called the 28th Regiment of the United States Colored Troops. Black men saw service in the Union Army as a means of proving their courage and patriotism. After the Civil War, you see Blacks moving and working to continue progress here in the state. In 1880, James Hinton became the first Black to serve in the Indiana General Assembly. Education for Blacks living in Indiana was very important. As early as 1858, Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church had established a school. And one of the most significant stories of this history surrounds the founding of Crispus Attucks High School here in Indianapolis. As early as 1922, you had parents and other organizations pushing for a Black high school. In Indianapolis, there was a White Supremacy League, and there were other organizations working so there would be a separate Black high school. Black residents living here in Indianapolis did fight the establishment of the school. The National Association of Advancement for Colored People filed suit against the building of this high school. The high school would be built and it would open in 1927. And although there had been great concern it would become a celebrated high school across the country, there was segregation in Indiana. There were issues of education, housing, and health care. In fact, in Indianapolis, in the city hospital, there were beds for Black patients, but Black doctors were not allowed. In Indianapolis, there were 3 Black newspapers by the turn of the century. There was the Indianapolis Recorder, Indianapolis Freeman, and the World. The Indianapolis Recorder continues to exist today. The newspapers were very important in providing information, accomplishments, and challenges that were taking place in the community. In Indianapolis, you had areas that thrived in the midst of segregation. When Blacks arrived in Indianapolis, many lived near the canal and the near west side, in particular near Indiana Avenue here in the city. And within that community, you had thriving businesses. So in the midst of this separate neighborhood, you would be able to find things that could provide opportunity, education, and help for individuals living in and around the neighborhood. The story of Black people and living in Indiana is a story of resilience. Despite the obstacles, they were able to overcome and to thrive, building community, building business, and achieving in education, and this continues today.